Hello everyone, we are Team 8, aka Attorneys at Law. Our team members are Ben Hancock, Carson Brown, Matt Lebovitz, Allie Miller, Lee Zhu, and Ryan O'Neill. The question that we will be discussing today based on our research is as follows. What is the Geolocation Privacy and Surveillance Act, and how has it and will it continue to influence law? This will include what exactly the act is, why the bill was introduced in the first place, and the pros and cons of this act. We hope that this video will be informative and shed light on a bill that could very well become law within a few years. So what's the deal with this bill and why is it being introduced? The GPS Act was initially created to establish a legal framework that would give commercial entities, private citizens, and government agencies a clear and established framework as to how and when geolocation info can be accessed and used. In addition, this bill would be used to keep businesses from giving their geographical tracking information they have collected to anyone else without first gaining the customer's permission. Keep in mind, this bill is not actually law yet, but it was reintroduced to the House on July 27, 2017 by Representative Blake Farenthold, a Republican from Texas. So what exactly are the origins of the GPS Act? The GPS Act was introduced in June 2011 by Oregon Senator Ron Wyden and Utah Representative Jason Chaffetz in the 112th Congress. After not seeing much momentum in the 113th and 114th Congress, Senator Ron Wyden, Representative Jason Chaffetz, and Representative John Conyers reintroduced the bill in the current 115th Congress. To quote Jason Chaffetz, he stated that, "I think it's great that GPS and tracking technology exists. What isn't great is the idea that this technology can be used to track somebody without their knowledge. It is the job of Congress to protect and defend the United States Constitution and the personal liberties provided to American citizens under the Fourth Amendment. Quite frankly, the government and law enforcement should not be able to track somebody indefinitely without their knowledge or consent or without obtaining a warrant from a judge."
Now we get into the reasoning for the introduction of the Geolocation Privacy and Surveillance Act. The reason that this act was put into place was to set up a legal framework that would help government actors know what kind of geolocation information they would be allowed to use and in what situations they would be permitted to use this information. One of the primary reasons that the bill was introduced was to address police attaching GPS devices to possible suspects' vehicles without having a warrant to do so. At the time, there was no legal precedent against issues such as this. This bill was created to put this into perspective. Under the GPS Act, the government would be required to show probable cause and obtain a warrant before being allowed to track someone using GPS. This is an important issue because although the people who are being tracked are suspects of breaking the law, these people are still innocent until proven guilty. Therefore, their rights should not be infringed upon by the government unless there is good reason to do so. With new technology allowing a user to obtain the location of another person in real time, this becomes something that is getting harder and harder to track. The GPS Act would render any kind of GPS tracking done without a warrant inadmissible in court. This ensures the government does not have complete authorization to follow anyone at any time.
Since the act hasn't made it through Congress yet, it hasn't impacted the law yet, but there are examples of times that it would have made a major impact. A mainstream example of an incident that would have been effective was Uber's post-trip tracking of customers who used their app. While the company claimed they did this to ensure customer safety after their ride, they fell under major scrutiny for the invasion of privacy. Uber had previously allowed users to limit the app to only gather data when it was open, but the company sent out an update changing the rules to a binary option between no data sharing, which would basically ruin the purpose of the app, and full data sharing. They hadn't disclosed a post-ride 5-minute tracking. Had the act been enacted, Uber would have had to try to disclose the full scale of the geolocation data acquisition, which would have been met with major scrutiny. While it may just be another hidden line in the terms and conditions, the act would make it sure that companies were transparent about the full scale of geolocation data acquisition and constrain them to making decisions that would be popular with the customers. The Geolocation Privacy and Surveillance Act is a fairly new act as of June of 2011, so there are not many popular cases pertaining to it. One case that stands out is United States v. Jones from 2012. In 2004, defendant Jones was suspected of drug trafficking. Investigators asked for a warrant that would allow investigators to install a GPS locator to the defendant's Jeep. The judicial court gave investigators 10 days to install and use the GPS tracker in Maryland. Investigators installed the GPS on the 11th day. make an unauthorized installation. Due to the fact that the GPS was unlawfully attached to the defendant's Jeep, the Supreme Court decided the police were actually committing trespassing against Jones. This case is important as it upholds Jones's Fourth Amendment right against the government's intrusion through the use of modern technology. Justice Sonia Sotomayor stated that the government had obtained information from a GPS tracker without Jones's knowledge. This clearly broke his privacy and resulted in Jones's not being convicted. So what is the significance of this event? Well, if you see, in this instance, a drug trafficker was able to get away due to the current laws that pertain to tracking. However, private companies such as Google and Uber can track you as much as they want as long as they make it clear in their terms and conditions. There's clearly a very large gap between what the government can do and what private companies can do, and the GPS Act is hoping that it can fill in that gap and make sure it is equally transparent all the way across.